All right, members, welcome to our edition of Cryptos at One Glance for what's the date today? For May 3rd, right? Is it the 3rd? May 3rd, 2018. All right, so we're looking at the crypto markets and we're going to look at some trading opportunities. Some of these trades have already kicked off because we talked about these trades in our last session. So some of them already kicked off, so you're probably late with some of these, but we're going to go through them quickly. So I'm going to go through the BTC pairs. Well, actually, I'll go through the USD pairs, then I'll go through the BTC pairs, and then we'll look at all these opportunities and see where we are. All right, so we're going to go with this first one, BTC USD. Looking on the daily time frame, you can see all Ichimoku signals are bullish. You could see right here, this is where I told you guys we were looking for a bounce off of Tinkinson, and we had that bounce. So usually when we get this bounce, we'll go to the 4-hour time frame to get into the trade. So this is when we hit that level, we're going to the 4-hour time frame to get in the trade. So we go down to the 4-hour time frame. This is where the level was, and you could see where our entry level was right here. All right, because we wanted to get on this rejection candle here, and then the market gave you a decent trade. Kind of probably scared you, and I don't know what you would have done, but your stop loss should have been below this level here, and then you would have been into a good trade. I see issues now with this asset going any further. So when I go back to the daily time frame, I just don't like what I see here for a trade because it looks like a good break of this level here. So if we're just trading the daily time frame, you would have been entering on this break. But see, look at this level here. Now, I don't trade divergence, but there is divergence here. All right, and this is a good support and resistance level. So some of these cryptocurrencies are starting to yield some good support and resistance levels that you can use. All right. So I usually like to go by just what I see with Ichimoku, but I also just see this divergence, which scares me from breaking higher here. So I need to see the break above that level before I feel in any confidence, because it looks like it's trying not to break that level. And in that case, we'll be trading inside this one candle like we already are. We're inside one candle. We haven't broken out outside of that one candle for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days here. So this is the 8th day inside of this one candle. So you could probably take this thing down to a range level and trade it as a range, go down to the 1-hour time frame, and now you could look to see what's going to happen here. It looks more like a short here. All right, so if we shorted it, we know where our levels are. We always want to trade back to our Tinkinson, Kijinsen, or we'll do prior support and resistance levels. So I'm not going to talk about an asset that doesn't have an opportunity. I'm not going to sit here and discuss it all day, but you can see here, we're inside of one candle. All right, all signals are bullish with Ichimoku. We need to get a break of that level, and then I'd feel a little bit more confident with the trade. Now, as far as myself, I like to see the break and then the pull back to the level. I usually don't take the break. Now, sometimes I will, depending on what's happening here, but you can see where Kijinsen's not really aiming to the upside, and you got a little bit of distance between Tinkinson and Kijinsen, and they're both flat, really. It's not really aiming to the upside. It's kind of flat. You're outside of the zone, okay? You broke outside the TK zone. Looks like you have support at this cloud here. All right, so with that support, the market's trying to stay above this level, but still we're inside this candle here. And until we get outside of that candle, you're probably not safe to take the long trade until we really validate that break of this level. And I don't see that happening right at this point. So I would trade it more as a range. I'd look to trade it at that point. All right, so this is a one glance session. We're going to go through this market at a one glance. All right. So this is BCH USD. Again, another pair that I really don't like the long trade. Now, I mean, we did like it here, and then it didn't give us a lot. But I don't like the trade at this point because we're still flat here. We got some distance. Yes, we broke outside of the TK zone. So possibly that we're going to see this break, because even if you look back here, so my thing is I want to see the angulation before I get into the trade, because I don't want to sit in a trade that's not doing anything and gives me a drawdown, because you can see we're rejecting these higher levels right here. All right, so you never violated this rejection. You had nice angulation here. This is what we look for when we break loose, but we don't have that here right now. All right, so you just broke out with your Kijinsen, with your Chiku span, so we don't have that Chiku span break either. So with the Chiku span breakout, we could take that Chiku span Kumo breakout, but the candle hasn't closed yet, but you're still going to have to put a stop loss that's deep. It's going to be way down to your Kijinsen level here. All right. So therefore, I like to kind of wait. So I box the market in. Whenever the market's not giving me much, I just box it in because it's going to have to talk to me sooner or later. It's going to have to do something sooner or later. So when I box it in, and I'm going to box this level in where it is. Well, actually, I'm going to leave it right here because I want to see where it closes. Because see, no candles really closed outside of this upper level here. So I want to see if we close above that level. All right. And if we close above these levels, then maybe we're going to see this thing start to move to the upside. But I do want to see angulation on my Kijinsen. Otherwise, I'm probably not going anywhere. You got all bullish signals on your Ichimoku. You got a Chiku span breakout developing. Now, be careful here because this candle hasn't closed. So don't jump the gun. Everybody likes to jump the gun. Then they're sitting in drawdown trades and then wonder why stuff doesn't work for them because you're trying to beat the market. Let the market tell you what it's going to do. It's going to tell you what it's going to do because you can just follow these signals that you get and wait for the candle to close to get the real understanding of the market. Look at this. If you would have jumped in here, you'd be in a drawdown all this time. All right. So let the candle close. If it would have closed up there, that would have been a great sign. But instead, it came back and closed inside this candle again. Therefore, we kind of knew what was going to happen at that point. You got too much distance right here. So that's going to show you that the market's probably going to range. All right. So let's move on. Let's go to the next one. This is Dash US dollar. Now, see, I marked these pairs that do have an opportunity for trading trades, but I haven't updated it the last couple of days, so we'll see. This asset here, all I'm looking for really, guys, is a Kumo breakout. We already had our bounce level. Okay, so we had this level here where we bounced. And when we bounced here, you had a rejection right here. So you could have entered the market already. You would have been inside the trade, but you're inside one candle again. And then we went back and said we're inside. This mother candle has a baby side inside of there with babies, all right, because we're inside of this one candle really. So what we're really seeing is the market trading inside of this level. So for me to confirm this trade to the upside, and you could go to a smaller time frame and try to trade this small range, but I probably wouldn't mess with it. For me, I'm waiting for this to break out to the upside, a Kumo breakout, because you got all bullish signals here. Now, Chico Span is going to find issues when it gets up to the cloud here, but you should be in a good profit at that point, okay? So for this one, I just would wait for the Kumo breakout here because the market's really slow. It's really not doing much. And matter of fact, we don't know what it's going to do. It's been inside this one candle for the past 6-7 days, the past week or so. So you want to see that breakout here. Rejected the breakout previously. We want to see it come back and break through that level. All right. Until it could do that, I'm not really going to mess with it. All right. Now, I make a trade when you see this. If price does come back to this level before you get an opportunity, if you get this kind of candle with a rejection or an inverted hammer or something of that nature, and then we get the angulation, you take the trade at the support level with the angulation, and that's a good trade for you. All right, because you'll be in the trade before the Kumo breakout. So at that point, if you're in the trade and the Kumo breakout develops or doesn't develop, you made some profit and you don't have to worry. But if it breaks out, you're in a free trade because now you move your stop loss up to the bottom of this cloud here and let this market roll. And then you're going to eventually follow Tenkan-sen and Kijin-sen as your stop loss. All right. See if I got some questions. Kumo breaks and bounces have been proving successful for me on cryptos over the last week. Are you seeing the same? Yes, that's what we've been saying basically in all the sessions we've had. Mostly every pair has had a bounce somewhere or another. Okay, so we've been looking at a lot of bounce opportunities, and those prove to be the best trades. Mostly I get a lot of bounces, and when the market's really trending, you're getting the bounces on Tenkan-sen. All right. I mean, when it's a nice trend, you're going to bounce on Tenkan-sen, or you'll come inside the TK zone and then break out. All right. So that's what we look for is basically when the market's trending. All right. And then a lot of times you may get a bounce on the cloud here and there. You may get a bounce on Kijinsen if the market becomes a little weak. That first move usually gets the bounce off of the Kijinsen. Then when it's a strong trend, it's going to bounce off Tenkan-sen. It's not coming back to Kijinsen until it gets a little bit weak. What has been more significant for me is when Chiku creates the cloud. Chiku creates the cloud. Chiku breaks the cloud. All right. So yeah, that's a Chiku span breakout. Okay. So it's basically a Chiku span Kumo breakout. When that breaks the cloud, you take that trade. All right. So that's one of the good Ichimoku trades that we do. But I usually like to, because with that trade though, you're going to have a pretty good stop loss because you got to give the market room to move. That's why I like to get the pullback trades onto the level, because on the level I know where I put my stop loss right away. Sometime on the breakout trade, you don't know, you're away from a level. All right. So now I don't mind the Kumo breakout, but I don't want to have a big distance between my where my stop loss is going to be placed. If the market's overextended, I'm not jumping into the Kumo breakout because I can get it on the pullback. So I'll look for my 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll jump in on 3 and shoot for 4 for our Ichimoku observation theory. But other than that, I'm not gonna jump into a trade that's running. A lot of traders do. Then you're sitting in a drawdown. You wonder why. Everybody thinks they missed something, but I showed you so many times you never miss anything. Everything you think you miss, you get another chance at it pretty much. There's no opportunity here really because the market pulled back. You had a good run here, and then it's pulling back, and you pulled back to your Tinkinson level. You bounced a little bit, but now it's proven that there's no strength here. You don't have any angulation on Kijinsen. The market is flat. I don't see any divergence, so you may see this move again, but I think you're getting a good correction first before you see anything happen. This is the ultimate high on this also. So we broke this high over here. And then we pretty much probably pulled right back to that level. All right, yeah, so I'd be pretty careful here. Just let this thing play out because you don't force anything here because you don't have anything because you're getting flat here. No angulation. You got angulation on your Kijinsen, but the market's coming down. Why is the Kijinsen angling to the upside? It shouldn't be. All right, because that's kind of like divergent here. So you're going to probably see a correction and then maybe the move because you still have a lot of momentum it's showing. All right. So let's move to the next asset. Again, another one. Why did I put these two levels here? Let me go back and look. Let me see why I put these levels. I believe somebody was telling me look at the weekly time frame and we marked it on one of these. No, that's not it. So that's not what I did there. Let me check this monthly. I never look at the monthly and weekly that much. Once in a great while, I like to see monthlies. I like to look for ultimate high, double tops, and double bottoms on monthlies, and those are super strong levels. But other than that, I don't use those levels because that's really long trading. All right, so again, here we go again. We have all the signals for a bullish trade. But again, I don't just jump in the market just because I got bullish signals, all right? I need to get confirmation that we're going to break this level, all right? So we're flat here again. You could see where we're flat. I don't see divergence, so I wouldn't be too worried here. There's a possibility if this closes above, then we could look at a trade opportunity. Now, really, you should have been in the trade down here because look at here where we talked about this. This is the last time we talked about this when we had the bounce. And as you said, a lot of these pairs are bouncing off of Tinkinson and Kijinsen. So we talked about this because you always go back to your 4-hour time frame. So if we go back to our 4-hour time frame and where I have this marked, I'm going to show you what we were looking at. So the same thing we were looking at before. The market dropped, found support at the cloud here, and then we had this rejection candle right here, this green rejection candle, and we wanted to enter at that level. And then I told you if you put an entry at this level, you will get into the trade. But if you were afraid, then you would have to wait for the Kumo break. I mean, for the Kijinsen break. You got the Kijinsen break, but if you weren't brave enough, then you got the bounce. You had 3 opportunities here to get into this trade off of the 4-hour time frame because the daily already told us what was going to happen. We looked at the daily and said we're going to bounce on the Kijinsen here. Once this hit Kijinsen, go down to your 4-hour time frame. Go to your 4-hour time frame. Look for the signal and trigger. So we had a signal, we had a trigger. You were in the market right here, and you should have been in the market and still. And then you're probably looking to take some profit because we're getting a rejection signal up here that the market may not violate and pull back. This is kind of like a range also on the 4-hour time frame. So I don't know if it's going to break on this daily yet. All right. So need to wait and see, but it looks like it's rejecting that level. You got a little angulation here though. Now that's a good thing. So if this breaks, I'm definitely looking to take that point, but really we should have been in here or at this point earliest, but at least here, then you would have had room to play this trade here. All right. So on this chart, do I ignore the cloud and wire? Are you talking about this chart that I'm on now, right now? because I don't know. Okay, so I ignore the cloud. Why do I ignore the cloud? Because first of all, I got all bullish signals, and when you first learn Ichimoku, the basic things are your TK crossover, your future Chiku span above price and price above the cloud. They tell you don't trade inside the cloud and so forth. But when you look at how the market moves, there's other things I look at before Ichimoku. Okay, because Ichimoku is not going to move as fast as price, and if I wait on Ichimoku all day, sometime I'll miss out and I'll never get a trade. So I have other aspects that I look at, mostly fractals. Fractals determine the market structure and the direction of the market. If I'm breaking a fractal, then I'm good to go. So when I break that bull fractal, I know that I can trade to the upside or downside or whichever way I'm breaking fractals. All right, so that's a major thing for me. All right, so I look at that first, and then I also look at the 1, 2, 3 structure. And if I have that, I'm gonna take the trade because the market has to reverse on a 1, 2, 3. Because mostly going back to the downside, you're gonna see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. But then once it changes, you won't see that anymore, and it'll be going that to the upside. Now we're flat here, so I just want to get outside of this level. All right, because if you can get into a trade, what if you can get into a trade right here, or the break of Kijinsen or the TK crossover right here? Because that's your signal. It's just a weak signal. But if you get into the trade here, it doesn't mean the trade's not going to work just because we have the cloud. It just means that we have some resistance ahead of us. So therefore, we just look at we have to look at the market, the price action. So if you enter the trade, you just want to make sure that that trade's going good for you. If the price action continues to show you it's moving, then no problem. Now the people that wait for the breakout, they're late. We're in already, right? And then the people that wait on the other settings, they don't get in. We're well in profit before they even think about getting into the trade. All right, they're still thinking to the downside. So let me go to the next asset because we got a lot to look at. So I'll get stuck in here like we do on Forex, being here for 2 hours. I plan to be here shortly. Okay, so we're late here, guys. We already talked about this trade the other day. I told you guys 2 times we could have had this trade again. Same thing. Now you're going to find some problems here with Chiku span moving up through this cloud. All right, so you may get that pullback. So we're going to look at our pullback levels. We're going to automatically set our pullback levels so that if you're not in this trade, I don't suggest jumping in late. I suggest waiting for that little correction because when you get that correction, you could get into the trade. But we already said we should have been into the trade here, right here, at the bounce right here. So we go to the 4-hour time frame and we look at our entry. All right, so 4 hours showed us right here, we had a rejection level right here, should have been into the trade, but we weren't. So I said you could wait for the Kumo breakout. We had this Kumo breakout the other day. And this Kumo breakout also developed one time here, pulled back in, and then another time here, and you broke this level of the cloud of this candle. You were trading inside this candle for the past 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, and then you broke out. So you broke above this level here. So that was a good sign. You got angulation, crossover, crossover, above price. Now we're going to have issues here, but now where's our target? So we always look to our left. So I don't see a clean 1, 2, 3 that I want to develop and show you, but I'm going to just mark it anyway because I don't believe this 1, 2, 3 because it's too weak for me. But I'm looking for my next target. So where will my next targets be? So if I'm looking at targets, I automatically mark these flat clouds. I want to make sure I could get through these flat clouds. They're strong support and resistance, especially this one. So these are shadows. These are Ichimoku shadows. They're Kumo shadows. All right, because the sun is shining this way. You got price coming above this way, makes a shadow back here. This is a flat shadow. These are strong support and resistance levels. All right, but now we got all bullish signals. So maybe we get up to this level, bounce, and then drop to the downside, get a little correction, and then get back into the trade. Eventually, we're thinking that, okay, we got a level here, we got a level here. The market found this top. It pulled back down to this level twice. Maybe we continue the move to the upside all the way to this level. Now, that's long-term thinking. So you want to go to your left and always find your support and resistance levels. That's where you're going to find your trading opportunities. All right. When you go to the left to look at those, when you go to the left, that's where you're going to find your targets. All right. But if you're going to use your observation theory, you're going to go like this. And this is going to be your target. Now, this is deep. So our target is pretty much where we said basically this flat cloud right here. We're a little bit above, but that's where our target is. Then our next target here, and then overall our E level will be up here. All right. So now what I'm looking at is we already had the breakout, and this was our entry. You could see we already put our entry level here. So you should have been in the market right here off of this entry level. This was our previous entry level. And then we had another entry here. So you should already be in this, all right, because we already talked about this. And now if you're late, it's too late. You got to, I think you should wait for the correction now. But some people will jump on there and it'll be in a small drawdown. I think eventually you'll be okay, but I just wouldn't do that. That angulation is major. When you see that angulation, look at it there. Angulation, the market drops pretty good. All right. Angulation, the market's dropping. All right. So when you see that, you should feel good because that's strong momentum. I can't explain the 1, 2, 3 a lot. I'll try to explain it, but a lot of this stuff is pretty much stuff that we already know from the courses and stuff. So it explains everything, all this stuff that I'm talking about. And I'm not even talking about everything that we do. I'm just explaining basic Ichimoku stuff right here. This is just basic stuff, basic Ichimoku. But I'll try to explain that 1, 2, 3 when I have a good level to show you. All right, so here's again another breakout level. Again, we already talked about this opportunity. You should have been in the trade right here, guys. We came back, pulled down to this level. We go to the 4-hour time frame. We already set our entry. All right, so our entry was set down here again. Market moved higher, and you got a good trade. But for those that didn't take the trading opportunity, I think you're late. So I wouldn't jump in here now. Okay, I would not jump in here. So what I would look for now is, since we had this support and resistance level, you could see this zone. I would kind of wait to see if the market gives you another opportunity, because the market likes to move. So I'm gonna show you the 1, 2, 3 right here. It's real good. But the market likes to do this, and this is what I'm gonna pretty much wait for. You had a good move here, right? Market pull way back. The market moves in N patterns. That's part of Ichimoku N waves. So Ichimoku talks about wave patterns. Those are 1, 2, 3s basically. I'm telling you most of the stuff that we start to get a little bit more advanced. Well, when we look at the market and the market's coming down, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so you went from this top. All right, now you go again, 1, 2. You don't have that 3, 4 again. That means your market's probably changing direction. All right, so now you look to see if you can develop another 1, 2, 3. Now this one went far. You're not going to see it go like this a lot. You'll see it quicker. A lot of times it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, but here it was way up here because this was a good move. 1, 2, went all the way from the bottom to the top of the range right here. So we had a 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we're looking for, and we're saying 1, 2, 3, 4 is just ABC equals AB equals CD. All right, so this leg and this leg should be the same length. All right, and that's how we find our target with Ichimoku. That's just one of the targets. And that's a little bit of the observation theory. So I shoot for, again, what are you shooting for when you get into a trade? So if you got into this trade down here, like we suggested, you would be shooting for this target. Well, you first would have shot for this target, because you always have to shoot for 1, 2, 3. You got to get past your 2 to get 4. If you can't get past 2, that's where you have to take profit, because the market's probably going to range. All right. But it broke through there. So now we're shooting for this level. And basically you would be shooting for your Ichimoku level, right? Your Ichimoku observation level, observation theory level, which would be right here. Now, if you don't have these numbers on your fib extension tool, you're not going to have the observation theory levels. You will only have this level because that's the normal level, and all fib extension tools are going to have that one level. But the rest of these numbers, I put in these numbers because they hit the Ichimoku observation levels, which are our targets all the time. But most of the time, the target is going to hit 1. All right, and I don't have time to really explain all that. You're overloaded. I'll keep it simple. I won't talk too much about the more advanced junk that we're talking about. So I'll keep it a little bit simple. And that's basic. That was basic stuff too. That's pretty basic stuff for us. Then you go to this next level. If you always look to your left for your targets, if you don't use Ichimoku observation theory. All right, so you shoot for your targets. You got a flat cloud. You got a flat cloud. Use your support and resistance levels. When you see a flat Tinkinson back here, mark that as a level that you may be interested in the market, finding resistance. All right, and then you could use those for your targets. All right, so there's no opportunity there. I'm not going to waste time on pairs that don't have opportunities. So let's go. Again, this is one that's broken. Entry level should have been right here at least now, but I think we're late again. You box this thing in. You don't have angulation yet, so I wouldn't be afraid, because what I would do, I'm pretty much going to box this in. Now, I could trade this as a range if I go to a smaller time frame, but I'm just going to stay on this daily right here. I like to go from daily to 4 hour. Now, 4 hours is not going to be a big enough range either, but what I like to see is this. So if the market does get up here and comes back, if I see angulation, I'm in the trade. I put my stop loss below this level, and I'm going to trade to the outside. Now, if you're afraid, wait for the Kumo breakout, because you'll have all signals, right? And then Chiku span is going to have issues at this point, because you got a flat bottom, and it's going to have a hard time breaking through that level, because that's the support and resistance level. But you're trading inside this one candle still. So, I mean, you could probably trade it as a range more so. All right. So watch what price does when it gets up here, because it may just fall again. You can see we're flat. 4 hour Ichimoku is no good. All right, so I would have to do my time analysis to get into this range trading, which will be Ichimoku be 1, 2, 3, and then you find because 2 will be fluctuation, 1 and 3 is going to be your support and resistance levels. 2 is fluctuation. Then you use your time analysis. Time will tell you how far you're going to move to this point. It'll tell you if you're going to violate that point, because if I fall down here on one of our numbers one of our numbers, I'm not going to worry about that. All right, I'm going to say that the market's going to bounce at that point, because I have Kian-Suchi at that point. But with Kian-Suchi, then you know that you're not going to break that level, or you know you're not going to break that top level. Pretty much, it helps you to decide that. All right, but I don't see anything at this point, because I would wait for the market to get out of this level, or else I would trade it as a range. But I wouldn't trade in the middle of the range. Wait for it to get back up to the top here, and see if you could short it or whatever you want to do here, or wait for it to come back to the bottom, or wait for the breakout here. But this is one that I say you're too late. If you didn't catch it down here on this rejection, you're too late. When the market comes back to this Kijinsen, and then you're late, but you can see we're flat. So wait for that angulation. Both are flat, so there's no momentum here. All right, you don't have full twist right here. So I really wouldn't be worried. I don't think you're going to see it take off on you before you could catch it. So NEO US dollar. All right, again, another trade that you could or should be in. So I would still say that you have an opportunity to take this trade when this candle closes. So here's our rejection candle right here. So your entry should be right here. All right. That's your entry level. You pulled back to your Tinkinson level. You bounced on Tinkinson 1 time, 2 times. This is the 3rd time. Now you got a thick cloud, which is going to be a strong resistance for us. So I want to see us get through this level. I don't see any divergence either. So maybe we could get through this level. I would take this trade at this point, stop loss down here, and watch for that angulation. You got all bullish signals. So this is pretty basic right here. And then you don't have to take that trade. You could wait for the Kumo breakout. All right. But I don't like to wait too much for that Kumo breakout, because I don't want to get too far from equilibrium here. If you get too far from equilibrium, you're just pulling back. All right. And you'll be caught in a drawdown trade, and then you'll have to wait however long it takes to get back into profit. But more than likely, we could see that we still have good move to the upside. We didn't lose any volume, any momentum, and we're breaking bull fractals. OMG USD. All right, so you're inside the TK zone. I don't like this trade opportunity. Look how price action is here. Look at the cloud. You're inside the TK zone. There's no momentum on either one of these indications with Tinkinson or Kijinsen. You did reject right here, but you rejected outside the TK zone, and you closed outside the zone, but you closed inside of a level where there's support and resistance. I don't like this one. I don't feel real comfortable on that trade opportunity. All right. And every time you look at the market, there's not a trade opportunity, okay? There's not always a trade opportunity. We discuss the market so we can find if there is an opportunity or when there may be an opportunity. Again, you're inside the TK zone and you're flat on both, which is a problem, all right? So you don't have anything, and you're trading inside of one candle, this one candle, for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. So eventually when you break out, it'll probably be a good trade, because you traded inside of one candle here for a little bit of time, 1, 2, 3 days, then you broke out on the fourth day, but you're inside 8 days here. Right, and plus it's a much bigger candle also. Your flat Kijun-sen, you got a little tiny angulation, not enough for me to take that trade because you're flat here too. So you may be seeing this is kind of like divergence with Ichimoku, but we don't see the divergence fully because Tenkan-sen's not really aiming to the downside. If these are aiming in opposite directions and the market's going the opposite way, that's divergence. It's not going much farther. All right, that's Ichimoku divergence, and that market is not going much farther. All right, but be careful here. We want to see the breakout. We got a thick cloud. We got a strong support and resistance level here, quite possibly. Right? Let's see what that level. Let's move this up here because I like this. See this support right here? And then it broke through and then broke back through, and it was resistance right there. And now we may approach that level again. So if we break out of here, be careful of this level. So mark that down at 242.71, because if you break this level, if you take this trade, even if you take it inside the cloud here, when you break out, you may only get to this level before you see the market drop. All right. Any questions? Let me know, because I'm going to just be moving on, keeping it very simple for you. Don't want to get too advanced stuff and not help you understand. It'd be just a waste of time for you in here. I don't like anything here, even though we're bouncing, our rejections are too high and the market's not doing anything. We're trading inside of one candle. When you're trading inside of one candle, you need to get out. You're flat Kijun-sen, flat Tenkan-sen, flat clouds. There's no momentum on this. All right, not a good opportunity. Not at a level. So when we trade LST. Always got to have a level, signal, and trigger to get into a trade. If we don't have that, we don't really get into a trade. Now we're inside the TK zone. We talked about this trade opportunity. It triggered, and then it didn't give us much. It broke. We should be in the trade already, but we only probably got a little bit of profit. This flat cloud was a major problem. We broke through here, though. Now, why did I mark those levels? Let me go back and check if I look at these bigger time frames. I think I already said this. Why did I look at these levels? Why do I have those marked? I don't know why I did it. But basically, yeah, I don't know why I have it marked. The big picture, let's look at the big picture, all right, because this is a little bit longer term trading. And so when we look at a 1, 2, 3, I'm going to show you. Let's look at it real quick. Let me remove some of this stuff so you could see. I got a couple lines on here, and the market's flat, sideways here, a big range, because I think your levels here, you see your level, then you got your upper level. So we came back to it. We didn't go back up to the top. We came back. Now there's a possibility if we continue to move, we could get up to that top. All right. But when I'm talking about a 1, 2, 3, the basic thing is the 1-to-1 ratio, which means, so I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4 are A, B, C, D, which would mean, and I could look at it any way, whichever way the market's going. So let me draw this one out and show you. So I have a 1 right here because this is right there. I have a 2 right there, right? It pulled back, made a 3, and then it went for 4. When I'm taking my trade at 3, I always have to get past 2. But when I'm taking my trade at 3, it has to be a level where I'm getting into the market. So it has to be Tenkan-sen, Kijun-sen, Kumo, horizontal, fractal, whatever it's going to be. All right. So let's clear that. So when I look at my trade, if I get in here in this area, I don't know where my target is. Quite naturally, I'm shooting for this flat cloud because that's going to be resistance. But Ichimoku observation theory will also give you an opportunity to find your targets. And I'm going to keep it simple. I'm not going to discuss it a lot. I'm just going to show you how the 1, 2, 3 works. And most people know this because this is also just basic trading. This isn't all Ichimoku right here. So I tell you that Ichimoku works for all markets, okay? So when I look at that, here's your 1, here's your 2, here's your 3. I'm in the trade right here in this area. I don't know where my target is, so I put my 1, 2, 3 on here, shooting for 4. I say, where's 4? 4 is going to be in this zone right here. 4 went right to that zone. All right, so let me show you what I'm talking about. It takes more than a minute to teach this stuff. So 1, this is a little bit easy here. 2, 3, and then we're shooting for 4 when we enter the trade right here. We always have to get past 2 So we know we did, and we broke right past 2, and we broke through Kijinsen. We had a TK crossover, and then we hit 4 up here. This is 4 right in our zone where we said if the market goes farther, we think it's going to go to our next level. And then if it breaks that, we think it's going to our next level. Now, those are how you find your targets with Ichimoku. All right. So hopefully you understand that. Now, I was thinking of something and I wanted to say something. I can't even remember what I was going to tell you guys. So much runs through my mind because I see so much happening on these charts. So I have some questions. Let me see. Overload. Okay, yes, you said. So basically, yes, we do want to trade with the herd. I'm not trying to jump in after the herd because that's where we get into drawdowns and sometimes we don't recover. I'm trying to get in where everybody else is taking the trade, all right, where the real money is taking the trade, not the traders that don't really understand how to trade. When I first started trading a long time ago in 2000, I would jump into a trade when I saw this happening. And I mean, sometime, yeah, that's good. All right. But say you do it like this. So you jump into this trade right here because you see this big move. Where do you jump in? So a lot of times you see it happening. Finally, you get in here. Yeah, it went down here and you staying in there. Next thing you see, it pulls back. And then now you probably get out. And then eventually it goes back your way. I don't want to be in here. I want to get in this area. So if I don't get in that area, and there's a way to get into this trade, if I look at the market and look at the structure and I'm looking where the pullback levels are, I could get into the trade. But this was a flat market, so I probably wouldn't have been able to get into the trade after it broke here because it was too flat for me and I wouldn't understand. I need to see the trend moving. All right. And you're not going to always catch the beginning of the trend. All right. And a trend starts with a fractal, fractal, fractal. And then it really starts with a fractal break. All right. And then the market's really showing you its structure at that point. If you don't break no fractal, you're not going the other way, probably, more than likely. All right. So here we are again, another Ripple dollar. Again, we talked about this trade opportunity, but this thing is flat. Everything is flat. And you got a bearish crossover developing. This, I would just wait on this market because what I would do here, I'm going to show you a trade that I did I did this trade last week. I can't remember what pair. If I can remember, I'll let you know, but I'll show you how I entered the trade. It was just like this. And this is where you have to be patient, traders. You have to be patient, all right? Because you can catch all these trades if you're patient. First of all, why would you go long right here? All right. Why would you go long right here? There's no reason. So you want to box this market in because it's inside of a level. It's flat. Find that flat level and let that market come to these. You don't trade in between support and resistance. You're in between it right now. So Ichimoku will tell you this is 1, 2, 3. 2 is fluctuation. You want to trade at 1 and 3. So if it gets up to 1 and it shows you signs of rejection and comes back down to 3, then when we get down to this support level down here, if you get angulation, that's when you trade. If you're up here and you get angulation to the downside, that's when you trade at this level. Are at this level. But here you don't have anything. You got a crossover and you don't really know. If you didn't even look at Ichimoku, you would think this was going to the upside. All right. And it may go up to this level, but you're showing weakness at this point. You're inside of one level. You're either going to have to go down to a lower time frame and trade this as a range because there's no clear-cut opportunity. All right. So if you entered the market on our last discussion right here, you're not really making much and the market's not really giving you much. All right. Yeah, you could say it's bouncing on the cloud, but it hasn't moved really. So it could sit here all day, all year, but until it gives us some momentum, we really don't want to be in a trade that's just doing nothing, right? We don't want to be in this sloppy trade. You don't really make any profit. And sometime it'll take you out because you won't be patient to sit through that. And then sometime it'll just go the opposite way on you. So you want to see the momentum to tell you that you're going with the direction of the strength of the market. There's no momentum right here. So that was Ripple Dollar. All right. So here's a good opportunity, but again, we're flat again. So we're inside one candle. All these pairs are pretty much showing me the same thing, and a lot of them are inside the cloud too. So there's a couple things you could just wait for to be a patient trader. So I'm gonna show you 1, 2, 3, 4 again. So when the market comes down, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I go 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I go 1, 2. I don't have a 3, 4 because the market changed direction. So now it says 1, 2, maybe 3, 4. All right. So I'm going to mark that. But then 1, 2, 3, and then 4. But I'm going to mark this level. We're going to go here. 1, 2, 3. And where's it hit? Where's it go to? It goes 1, 2. I don't make this stuff up. It's just how it happens. It goes right there to our level. That's our target when we get into the trade here. All right. So we got 1, 2, 3, and this is all Ichimoku stuff. Boom. But this, you'll always have this level if you just have the normal fib extension tool. So you'll still be able to find this level. All right. But you won't be able to find these levels unless you put the numbers in that I have. And then you have to understand your 1, 2, 3 and where to find it and how to find it. And we do that basically at support and resistance levels. All right. So then the next level, watch, here's where we're going to find our target. All right. So you always got to get past 2. So now this is 1, 2, 3. It's the developed 3 already. All right. So we're going to shoot for 4. Now it doesn't mean we're going to get 4 because we may not break this level 2, but currently we already developed the 3 here, so we can mark it. Target is up here, right? So that's what you got. Now, the way we enter this trade, we could enter this trade a couple times, a couple ways. So I don't like to trade the violation of the TK zone unless I have angulation. We violated the TK zone right here with no angulation. Yes, we got all bullish signals, but we're inside one candle here, right? So I kind of could wait for the Kumo breakout on this trade, or I could wait for angulation and then take the trade. Both are flat. You have no momentum. You're not trading above this level. No candle closed above this point or lower than this point. So at that point, I know I don't have much right yet because we never closed higher than this and we never closed lower than that. So you can go to a much lower time frame and try to trade it as a range more than likely. But we do have OBV with some up volume, so that's a good thing. Questions real quick. So the Ichimoku basically teaches wave analysis, time analysis, and observation theory. So the wave analysis is just N waves. So it starts with an I wave, V wave, and an N wave. So I wave is one leg, the V wave is 2 legs, and then the third leg you get your N wave. So that's how you get a 1, 2, 3 basically. And that's something that you learn, just basic Forex stuff and market stuff. That's basic technical analysis with the 1, 2, 3. You could find that anywhere. AB equals CD, or 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3. That's the same thing that this is, that we're talking with Ichimoku, but there's some other aspects to it. But that's the just basics of it. So inside this box, I don't want to do much. All right, so let's move on because we still got a lot of pairs there. We're still on USD. Now we're hitting the BTC. Again, I think we're late here. We always talk about the market pulling back. So everyone who thought they were missing this and didn't catch it, if you didn't catch it, it pulled back and gave you another opportunity. When it pulls back here, you don't sit here on the daily time frame. You go down to the 4-hour time frame and you get into the trade. Now we're seem to be falling because we have a little bit of divergence here, and the market's moving to the upside with divergence. We may be getting weak, so look for the support and resistance level and see if it's something that's holding us up. So this is one that I'm not in love with, and the reason is because I don't like distance. I mean, I don't want to be too far from where, when I enter, I want to be near my support levels of Ichimoku or one of my other support levels. All right, and you can see Chico Span had a hard time getting through this cloud. So wait for the Chico Span breakout. All right, you could wait for that, or you could watch for the pullback level and then move to the upside. Your pullback levels are going to be your Chico Span more than likely on this trade, or inside your TK zone, or the bounce on Kijinsen, which is not likely. because I told you when the market's trending really strong, this first start, it doesn't get real strong. It bounces on Kijinsen here, and it bounced again. But after that, it never came back to Kijinsen until it changed direction. But it bounced on this Tenkan-sen, right? You could have caught that Tenkan-sen bounce. You could have caught that one. But when you get this bounce here, you could go to the 4-hour time frame and get into the trade easier. But if you wait on the daily, you just take the outside box trade, or the 1, 2, 3, or the 3 inside up or 3 inside down, whichever way we're going. But here, I don't see much opportunity because I got too much distance. So let me move on, and we try to do this every time the markets give us an opportunity. So I'll have these sessions whenever. So we could have one a week, 3 a week, 5 a week, whatever, whenever the market's really doing something. So we had a Kumo breakout here. I told you I don't love the Kumo breakout because I don't want to be too far away from my levels. And now we're flat here. So we pull back to Tenkan-sen. I still can wait, and I go to 4-hour time frame and look at this. Let me go back and mark this level. That's your daily Tenkan-sen. And then the lower one is your daily Kijinsen. So you're kind of bouncing on this level still. Now, another thing I do, because this confuses a lot of traders. What's your bias right now? Classroom participation. Anybody from member session know what your bias is right now on this trading opportunity, if there is one? What's your bias? Anybody? Just one? Is there one? Yeah, there's one. There's two. Your bias is neutral? I can't say that. Yes, your bias is bullish. And there's a lot of reasons why your bias is bullish. Watch your fractals, all right? And then Ichimoku, all things are bullish on Ichimoku. Your bias is bullish. Your trend is moving to the upside. So your bias is bullish. So just because you got a correction here, that doesn't change the whole direction of the market. You got to break some fractals to change the market, your structure. And then you can't change the structure that quick. So we still have bullish bias. So if our bias is bullish, which way are we trading? May I ask? Inside the cloud, we're not worried about the market inside the cloud. It's just a support and resistance level. We got to get through it, but we still could trade in there. It doesn't tell us our bias. The bias of the market isn't based on the cloud per se. I mean, the bias of the market, the long-term bias of the market is determined by this future right here. This is support and resistance level and market bias. It's bullish. The market is bullish. It's breaking fractals to the upside. It's bullish. All right. So if our bias is bullish, we're looking for long trades. So if I go to now if I go to this time frame, right? What's my bias right now when I go to this time frame? Anybody know? All right, Squirrel, I don't know if you're a member here or not, but you got it right. Your bias is bullish. Your bias does not change just because you change your time frame. If I look at my daily and say bullish, in order for me not to confuse Ichimoku traders, I usually take this Ichimoku and hide it so that they don't get confused. Because now if you don't even see Ichimoku, which way is your bias? Easy to tell right there. It's bullish. So then when I go to the 4-hour time frame, I'm bullish. That's what I'm looking for. So if I'm bullish, what am I looking to do? I'm looking to bounce on this support level right here. Now, if it violates, we may start to see a change developing. And we do have strength moving to the downside on the 4-hour. Let's see what this daily's overall. We don't have any change yet. So we may be getting a good correction, and that's it. So when we talk about more advanced stuff with our sessions, there's levels that we're looking for this market to pull back to. All right. So then we would really know where the market is going. So let me put Ichimoku back on here. And then let me get moving. I think it's that one. Yep. All right. So your bias is bullish, but you don't have an opportunity right yet. You're bouncing on Tinkinson. So when you bounced on Tinkinson right here, you would have looked like you're gonna get a bounce and the market move to the upside, but the candles dropped and you got no momentum. So just hold off, because what you want to see, if long as we don't close inside Tinkinson, that's a sign. All right. And if we get angulation, that's a very good sign. We're in the market then. But if we do close inside the TK zone, long as we don't close below Kijinsen, we're still all right. Because we could bounce inside the zone or bounce at Kijinsen, and then the market goes to the upside. But at this point, you got to play it out and let it go. Um, Again, we're inside one candle. We're flat here. You don't have no momentum. There's no trade here on this Bitcoin Cash. Don't waste your time. You could trade it as a range if you box it in and go to a lower time frame. I'm not going through all that. You had a Chico span breakout that was weak. All right, Chico span breakout didn't develop anything, didn't violate the high here, so you don't have anything. So Chico span will also tell you, because basically you're going to just be breaking a support and resistance level. You just mark it and you close above it with your candle. You're going to close above there. It'll have both be telling you the same thing. But I don't enter that trade because I don't want to. And if this fakes me out, this is going to be just nothing but a bull trap. All right, because traders are going to jump in. This was a bull trap right here. And what happens is the market fakes this breakout level. Traders, long traders, are jumping in here, and then the market drops to the downside. All bulls are trapped during a trade that's losing, and there's no momentum. All right, and it could drop even farther. By then, they probably jump out, or they lose their account, or whatever's happening. Don't get caught in a bull trap or a bear trap. That's why you need confirmation of them breaks. And there's some breaks that I would definitely take, but some breaks I definitely wouldn't take. Now, this is more like a consolidation range, but still, you're flat here, so you don't have anything. All right, next one, Binance Coin, Bitcoin. I don't like it as far as like a range trend, but it's got a flat level here, and it's probably pulling back to this level. So at this point, I think you may see it drop down to this point. But for me, there's no true trade for me. I just got a crossover, then getting ready to have another crossover. Flat cloud, very flat cloud here. So my span A B is very flat. I have nothing going on. There's no momentum. I'm not going to trade it in between levels. If it comes back to this level, maybe I can trade to the upside again. But currently at this point, it's not doing anything for me. Now, probably will drop to this level, but for me, that's a waste of time trading that, because it's not even a sure trade there. So Dash Bitcoin, we do have a slight opportunity, but again, we don't have what we need for the trade. All right, so let me see. I got a question here. Okay, my friend, have a great one. So let's go to this next Dash Bitcoin. Again, we're flat, bouncing on Kijinsen a couple times. So I don't see a trade yet, because you have not violated this level. You have not bounced on this level truly, but you got all bullish signals. Now, this could be just a pullback and we violate these fractals and move to the downside. But other than that, I'm just going to wait to see if this level holds. I'll trade the Kumo breakout on here, because that'll signify better. The market's inside this box, really. So if it breaks to the upside or breaks to the downside, you kind of know. So I'll wait to see which way it's going to break out. Chico spans above Tinkerson and Kijinsen. That's a pretty good sign. All right. So let's move on. I'm going to run through these next ones. I don't like this one. I mean, we were boxed in here. We were boxed in pretty much on this Ethereum Classic, and we were looking for the bounce on this level. We never got it. Everything stayed flat, so we really don't jump into a trade. So nothing's really happening here. Nothing to really talk about. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, we have a Kumo breakout developing. I would take this trade on the close of this candle, because you're closing above Kijinsen, above the cloud. If you get the Kumo breakout here, you got the angulation. This is the first sign of angulation. All right. It's because you were flat here. You got a little angulation, and then the market it showed flatness again, but you never came back. All right. So every time you got the angulation, you were safe. Angulation, you're safe. Angulation, you're safe. Angulation, you'll be safe again. And you're not closing below Tinkinson. So that's a big sign here, because look at how we're following Tinkinson. Look how this market follows Tinkinson, all right? Especially in a good trend. it's hard to catch this trade and this trade if you don't see this. And you have to see this because later this develops into this or this. But you'll say, well, this is easy to see in the past. Yeah, sure, you could show us those trades in the past. I'm showing you the trade right now. All right. You're staying above Tinkinson at this point. You got angulation. You got a twist right here. You got a TK crossover. You're above price. You're finding resistance here. So you may get a pullback. You got to get through that cloud, and it's going to have a problem getting through that level. But you do have a Kumo breakout when this candle closes. All right. Litecoin, Bitcoin. Don't like it. It's flat. More than likely, I can box this in as a range. Might see a bounce here and a drop to the downside, but we're kind of like in the middle of the range. So therefore I don't like to really trade. I never trade inside of the middle of a range. I either want to be at the top or the bottom. I don't want to be in the middle. It could go either way. So I never trade in the middle of a range. And I don't trust Ichimoku in the middle of the range as far as support and resistance levels. So there's nothing at that point. Neil, BTC, so we have an opportunity here, but we just don't have the momentum right now. So we pulled back to this Tinkinson again. You're trading inside this one candle with the past 3 days. So you want to see this bounce develop here. So for me, I can even look at this, you know, but I want to make sure things don't change. Things may change. At this point, I would look to have a trade above this level. All right. But I need to see some angulation because you got the market move higher. 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 1, 2, 3, and then shoot for 4. You got to get past this 2 level, which is at a flat cloud. So even if you get in here, you got to make sure you get through that level, then shoot for your 4, and then also go to your left, look for support and resistance levels that you're going to shoot for, and then overall you may get up to your double top level where you see the market move all the way to that point. But you have a good opportunity for a trade here, but look for your angulation, and that'll lead the way for you. The price, you can see the trend's not that strong yet because we pulled back to Kijinsen once. Now we're bouncing on Tinkinson, but we still haven't really developed yet. But that's the opportunity there. Nxt Bitcoin, we're bouncing on our level, but we're too far away from Tinkinson and Kijinsen, especially Kijinsen, and you're flat here, so no trade opportunity for me. We're pulling back. We're flat. When this is flat, you're not going much farther. You're either going to sit up here in range till it catches up, or you're going to pull all the way back. Here you're pulling back to Tinkinson. There's no trade opportunity right now. Let this play out to see where we're going to get our pullback trade opportunity, either at this level or it may pull all the way back here. At this point, I don't like anything about it. All right. Again, we're boxed in. Everything's flat. You have no momentum. That's why the market's not going anywhere. There's no momentum. You can see it's flat here. You don't have your crossover here. You got the crossover there. You don't have your future twist. Chico span's inside price, but I mean inside the cloud, but we're above price. So that's good. And I would just wait for the break of this level, or when we get back down to this point, watch for the break to the upside. So I think I could show you how my last trade went, but I got to remember what pair. So XLM, Stellar Bitcoin, we're pulling back to one of our levels, but the market's showing no momentum again. So no trade opportunity. You're not missing anything. If you're trying to jump in there, you're in a losing trade that's just sitting around. All right, so nothing to talk about. And most of these last 3 pairs, I don't believe either. There's probably going to be a breakout to the downside. I don't love the sloppiness on it. I prefer to miss this trade right there. Probably a nice break to the downside, but I'm going to wait. This here, Ripple Bitcoin, box this thing in because it's still confusing here too. It's not giving us much. Box it in. We're at the bottom of the range. We don't have much angulation, but if you get deeper angulation and you don't get this crossover, a big thing to watch for. So this may eventually break to the upside strong. So go for 1, 2, 3, and then shoot for 4, and then shoot for your overall target, shoot for your bottom of your flat clouds and all that stuff. But basically when we're inside this range here, and this is consolidation, I think you're going to see this take off because you had a big move here. Then it pulled back, consolidated, and then you probably see it run again. So what you want to wait for, watch this. It's not going to the downside even if we cross until we violate these levels down here. So if we cross and then it starts to get angulation to the upside, if these two are together like this, you're in the trade. So here you could see it was above just like this, and then it flattened out, and then they got together. Look at the trade when they're together and they angle to the upside or downside. That's super strong. And that's when you enter this trade at this point, how this one is. Or you could wait for the Kumo breakout. I don't feel good with the Kumo breakout because we'll stare inside this one candle. See that one candle? You're inside that one candle for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days inside one candle. That's why I'm saying wait on that break. All right, clear? I got 2 more to look at. Verge Bitcoin, don't like it. Okay, so I'm not even going to discuss it. These lovers are too far apart. They don't like to be separated like that. So I don't know what's going to happen there. And then the last one, Zcash Bitcoin. Again, same as mostly all these pairs, but we haven't violated anything. Last time we talked, we said this was our entry level. I'm going to take that away. So we can wait. We're still flat. All these pairs are inside the cloud. I can wait for my violation of this point right here. And by then I should have angulation also. All right, because you're violating off of this rejection here. Now you could have been in the trade here, but it doesn't have any momentum. All right, so I'm still looking at that rejection on off of Kijinsen, and we don't have a crossover or anything that's developing to the downside. So we still may see this move to the upside. At that point, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, then also mark your support and resistance from the left. So this would be one level, and I'm just making basic levels. This would be another level. This would be another level. And then I would like to look at everything. So that might be a level for you, but you just want to look to your left to find support and resistance levels where the market may not get through. If it shows you signs that it's not, then you could get your profit or take some profit. So I think that's the last one. Let me see if I have any questions. Okay, I got 2 suggestions to look at. So first is Link BTC. And when I look at this on the daily time frame, I think this trend is starting to the upside, still intact. You have a little angulation, but you don't have the market moving. So now what we want to wait for here, we're on this level right here. All right, watch for the market to bounce at this level. See if you could get the bounce. Go to the 4-hour time frame now, and you already got a signal. All right, so we trade level, signal, and trigger. You have a level and a signal. Now the trigger could be a morning star here, but if I stay on the daily, the trade's gonna be going, and I'm gonna get in later. All right, so I already know my level. The market's at my level. When it's at my level, and I already know my bias, I go here and look. If I take Ichimoku off, you won't be confused. But currently, we got to wait to see what this candle closes as. It looks like it may close as what it is. And then if it does do that, because it's got 3 hours to go, and if it closes as is, it's going to be it could develop into a morning star. You can see this move to the upside. It's holding support here. I like the trade, but now the trade could drop still because we could drop to this point. You could drop to your flat cloud here, which would mean if you're looking at the 4-hour time frame and we say here, it's going to trigger you. It's going to probably take your stop loss out right there and then move back up to the upside. Now, if these Tinkinson and Kiesenson get together and then angle to the upside, you know where the market's going. All right. So I think you got an opportunity on this one, but I think you just got to be a little patient. Don't jump in too quick. If you understand how to get into these trades, like we talk about level, signal, and trigger, if you understand how to get in based on that, or at least some kind of signal that you use. If you're not a member here, then you'll know when to get into this trade instead of getting in too early and it keeps dropping on you, because that's what happens a lot. Traders get in too early, the market continues to drop because it never really bounced. It doesn't bounce until it bounces. I had a trader tell me that these Keynesian bounces don't work. I was like, why don't they work? They work a lot for me. He said, because every time the market's coming to the downside, I put an entry order here for long and the market just blows through it. And I say, of course it blows right through it because it never bounced on it. It's not a bounce trade if it doesn't bounce. All right. So you need to see that bounce. And then I have one more. Someone wants to look at something else. Sam, I am going to look at GBT, BTC. All right. So looking at this level, I must have had this. I must have looked at this before because I got levels on here already. So looking at this, let's go to the daily time frame to get our bias. We want to understand the bias of this market. So looking at that, I like the pullback here, but we're not violating levels. It's kind of hard for me. You got angulation developing, but you don't have the market moving yet to the upside. So I'm going to the 4-hour time frame. So I want to see this 4-hour time frame develop a signal here. I want to see angulation, and then I'm going to look to trade it to the upside. All right. You're inside the TK zone. Unless you close below this level, you're still pretty safe for the trade to the upside. But don't jump in too early because you want to see what this candle closes as. All right. And then you could get into the trade because you're going to have angulation. So once you get that angulation, then the market's going to move to the upside, and then you'll see that trade go in your direction if you're looking for that. You still have up volume on the OBV, and you do not have any divergence. So this still is intact, but just be patient on it. All right. So I have a beautiful looking wife that just came home. So I think I'm going to end this session and attend to this beautiful lady that just walked in the door. All right. So thank you guys. Thank you for coming to the session. We're going to do another one soon, and we're going to do our live session for Forex on Sunday. All right. Make sure I don't have any questions. All right. Good. So we're good to go. Thank you guys. Have a great one. God bless. So long.